Hello and welcome to Sassi Talks. This is the show where we bring you tips for positive lifestyle choices. And today is the episode, the monologue for the month of April. So looking at the programs that we've recorded over the last few weeks, for which we had some really great guests. I think all the guests that we have on Sassi Talks are great in some capacity because they are all bringing something different to the table and teaching us how we can indeed improve our lifestyles and our well-being in different ways, whether it's our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, our relationships with others, our relationships with things. And Romain Gadel-Rab from King's College London was an interesting guest because she was talking to us about the impact that technology can have on our overall well-being, and how if we spend too much time on technology, the world in which we now live in, which is fueled with technology, everywhere you look, everything you do involves a gadget or a phone or whatever it is that is just keeping us connected, but keeping us connected with technology, which can have that impact on our mental health. And Romain was talking to us about setting boundaries. So it's not that you have to stop altogether or not engage with technology, but just have limits to it and set time. So for example, being on social media or scrolling through Instagram into the early hours of the morning isn't going to be great for your sleep. And I've experienced it myself. If I am on my phone looking at anything, it could be emails, it could be text messages, or indeed social media, past 9 o'clock, I am definitely going to have a disrupted night's sleep. It's just something about those blue lights that just affect my sleep in some capacity, and that's something that Dr. Romain was talking to us about in detail. So setting boundaries, so having times when you do engage with technology and times when you just don't. And the same goes with engagement with work. With so many people working from home these days, there seems to be an increased need to be present all of the time in case an email comes in or in case somebody contacts you in an unnatural way to which you would be doing if you were, say, working in an office and there was increased visibility and people could actually see what you do. There seems to be increased pressure on people who are working remotely. So it's really about having those conversations and finding ways to put boundaries in place so that you're not jumping around like a headless chicken trying to do everything at all times, but taking healthy breaks and gaps in between so that you are able to return to work and be more effective than if you were just going continuously. I think they spoke about the concentration being about 45 minutes for most people's concentration span. So anything longer than that, people are starting to lose focus and minds are wandering and thinking about shopping lists and different bits and pieces. So try to put breaks into your day and try to put breaks into the amount of time that you spend on social media and just be healthier with it. And also, especially with social media, it was about not comparing yourself to others. And we all do that, right? I remember in my 20s, I used to have this thing where I would say, if it's not mine, if I don't have it, it's not meant to be for me. And if I'm meant to have it, it will be with me at some point. So I don't need to worry about what other people have. I only need to focus on what is in front of me, and what's meant to be mine will be mine. And then social media comes along, and then everybody's jumping around looking at what everybody else is doing. Everyone's on a yacht, everyone's living their best life. Well, are they actually living their best life? Probably not. In fact, they're not. It is just all a facade for the best part. So comparing yourself to others is something that everybody should stop doing. We should just stop comparing yourself to others. It reminds me of a piece of writing, Desiderata, which if you haven't read it, it's worth a read. It used to be hanging in the family bathroom at my parents' house, and at about 14 years old I tried to recite it, and if I can remember the first few lines, it went something along the lines of go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak the truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons, they are vexations to the spirit. And if you compare yourself to others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there are greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. We're not meant to be on other people's track. And this also takes me back to when I was running track, when I was doing athletics. And I remember then being told that if you look back to see what the other runners are doing or how far back they are, you actually slow yourself down and they end up overtaking you. Now, you see it when the 4x4 relay is taking place. The four athletes are running around the track, or they've got to pass the baton to the next runner at the next 100-meter mark. And the idea is that they put their arm back to get the baton, collect the baton and keep running. But the minute they try to turn around and look to see what's going on behind, or they lose confidence in what they were supposed to be doing and what they had planned to do, but they're looking back to see what's going on behind and to see whether or not the baton is actually going to be passed to them, what happens? Drop the baton. Invariably they drop the baton and the other runners run straight past them. It doesn't happen every time, but a lot of the time. And it suggests to me that you've got to stay focused, stay looking forward and stay in your lane. Don't get into other people's lanes. Stay in your lane and just complete what it is that you set out to do. So the other great guest that we had on the program on the series was Sandra Berko, and she was the author of Sankofa, the book of very special poems that talks about taking from your past and healing and improving where you are now, leading into a more progressive and positive future. And she talked a lot about gratitude and the power of gratitude, and how just being grateful for what we have now instead of complaining about what we don't have and we want to achieve can really, really increase your overall well-being, your happiness, your levels of satisfaction, and lead you to achieving and receiving more. There's a lot out there about the power of gratitude and how being grateful for what we have can actually bring more into your life. And that just reminded me to go back and focus on gratitude and affirmations and giving thanks. You can give thanks for literally anything. There's so many things to be grateful for. From the minute you wake up in the morning, just think about the conveniences that you have in your life, that if you didn't have them, where would you be? It only takes a power cut in the middle of winter when it's pitch dark outside and you're trying to maneuver around the house by candlelight to appreciate the convenience of electricity, the simple things like electricity which we take for granted, running water in the taps, being able to have a warm shower, which so many people aren't able to do. There's so many things, simple things, basic things that you can be grateful for that can actually overall increase your level of happiness and satisfaction and open the way for more good to come into your life. So I really believe in that. And with those affirmations, I think it's important to think about what you do think and what you do say, because there's so much power in what we say and so much power in what we think and what we are able to manifest through our thoughts. So speaking positivity onto others, even when you don't want to, be positive, find a way, because there is great benefit in doing that. We also had Davide Nuzzo, the fitness instructor. He runs a great little boutique gym, fitness training centre in London, and he was talking about the importance of exercise and the impact that has on our mental health. And now it sounds like, yes, we've all heard about exercise and how important it is to exercise, but really breaking it down and understanding how intricate exercise is to your mental health is fascinating, because exercise, of course, it releases endorphins, which is like it's like a natural morphine. It works on pain, but it also increases your level of happiness. And endorphins help to increase dopamine and serotonin into the bloodstream, and melatonin, which all help to increase feelings of well-being and positive mental health. So even if you don't enjoy exercising, find a way to do some kind of physical exercise that gets the heart rate up a little bit and just starts to flood your body with those endorphins, because it's a complete system, being physically well but also mentally well. It's a complete package. You need both. You can't have one without the other. So when I was struggling majorly with long COVID last year, it occurred to me that I wasn't able to exercise. Well, it occurred to me I couldn't exercise. The doctors told me I couldn't, because I wasn't allowed to increase my energy levels too much, because it would have an impact adversely on my immune system. So I wasn't able to exercise. That was a really difficult thing for me. For somebody who's used to exercising 5-6 times a week in the past, to not being able to exercise at all, definitely had an impact on my mental health. But I discovered something, and that is that meditation also releases endorphins. So even if you're not able to exercise, if you are able to engage in a practice of deep breathing and mental focus on whatever it is that you choose to focus on a particular spot on the wall, or a bright light, or a particular word, you can choose. There's so many different ways to meditate. But if you can find a way to meditate and to spend time with yourself, to just breathe, that also releases endorphins into your system and can help with your overall mental health. Another thing you can do if you are unable to do really physical exercise is to consider practices like Qigong, which I discovered more recently when I slipped a disc in my back. Can you imagine? So I'm recovering from long COVID, and then I go and slip a disc going back, so I still can't exercise. But I discovered that Qigong, which is a practice very similar to a lot of the martial arts practices, lots of movements and focus on breathing, and it's almost like a meditational type of exercise. It again not only helped to heal my slipped disc, it did for me. Obviously, if you want to try it, you should speak to a medical practitioner first to see whether it's something that you should do. But certainly for me, being able to stretch out my back to the point where to go as far as I could with it, and then to change into another stretch or posture and breathe with it, really helped to increase my healing, improve my healing, but also still get that flood of endorphins and made me feel a lot better overall. So that's what I've got for you. A few points from our shows this month, from Romain, from Sandra and from Davide. Thank you so much for being on Sassi Talks. You can watch those episodes which are currently on YouTube, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Sassi Talks. In the meantime, take good care.